Highimpactflix sent me an email saying he wants me to comment on 2 videos he also reviewed. So I decided I want to make a video. First video was about a chief who assaulted a teen, and he wanted him charged with disturbing the peace. And his excuse or his explanation was that the teen invited him to fight. I think that's wrong. The police chief is in the wrong there, and the teen is in the right. He's innocent. Because I think that consenting public fights without permanent maiming or breaking of bones is moral, and it should be legal. And it only becomes disturbing the peace if the invitations are non-stop while the opponent is denying them. So that becomes like stalking or harassment. But if it's just one time for dignity, I think that in a misunderstanding, I think that's reasonable and that's not disturbing the peace. Because there's a misunderstanding. The misunderstanding itself is the disturbance, not the clarification, invitation to clarify through the brawl. As far as why the teen was upsetting the chief, he said that he was standing by near a monument. I don't really understand why that's a disturbance in itself. The second video was a deadly shooting video of a landowner, homeowner, where the police crew went to the wrong address. I think it's very unfortunate that the person died, and I think it's the fault of the police. It's a manslaughter charge for the police because they failed to identify themselves. I also have some history with a similar situation. It happened before I made my City Hall video a few years back. I had a roommate who was recently out of jail, and he wasn't really getting along with me, and I was having my mental breakdown during that time, and I left some cantaloupe on my desk while I went to community college, and it rotted and it smelled, and I think that's the reason why I got a wellness check. It's either that or, well, it could be a couple of other reasons, but I think it's that one. And the wellness check, there was 2 ladies who didn't knock, didn't ring the doorbell. They just came right into my room. And my initial reaction was grab something and punch him in the face, because it felt like I was being assaulted. So just like in the video in the homeowner where he took up his gun against somebody who's trying to invoke authority of some sort without identifying clearly, I think it's a natural reaction to go to defensive posture or even aggressive, because it's not reasonable to simply walk up to somebody like that and so aggressively. But I didn't attack those ladies. Instead, I just crossed my eyes and stayed silent, and they just left. And that inspired me to make my City Hall video. I also wanted to mention, since I'm making this video, some other things. I've heard on the news and the progress on my weight loss. On the news I heard a Mississippi woman was arrested for having sex with a dog. I think that's really messed up because animals can consent and it's moral and it's beautiful and it definitely should be legal. And there's plenty of evidence for it that it's moral and should be legal. Even popular videos like Alinity on Twitch with her dog wanting to mount her live on her streams. And I've seen other videos on YouTube of dogs being horny, trying to hump humans. It should definitely be legal. It's ridiculous that she got arrested. She should be let go. And I also heard in trans news. Well, before I mention the trans news, I wanted to say that my views on it. I think that that the gender bending pronouns should be legal and cross-dressing in public should be legal, but the gender bending pronouns should be voluntary because it's sexual play, and sexual play should be voluntary. And for children, I think that removing fertility from children is immoral. It's not appropriate. At least until there's cheap artificial womb technology and Yamanaka gene technology so they can create sperm and egg cells from something as simple as skin cells. But if parents still insist on doing it today and society agrees, then I think it should be legal for the children, the transgendered children who had their fertility removed, to legally be able to murder their parents when they grow up if they want to, in ritual style, and even grab their sperm and eggs by force to create a sibling and live vicariously through them. I've made lots of those types of comments on BitChute, so I figure I might as well put it in video. And the news, for the trans news, I heard Mr. Beast, his co-host, he fired him, Chris, who was cross-dressing and calling himself trans. Maybe he was offended about the technicalities, like what I had to clarify. It's unfortunate he had to get fired, if he agreed with me. And I also heard the Bud Light vice president for marketing got fired for having a bad choice. I think that's also unfortunate because there's a lot of gay and trans things in the news, so I think it was appropriate to market it. If the owner wanted it, it's important that the owner agrees with it. The owner of the company. I don't know the details of it, but it's just sad to hear people getting fired, because I was fired so many times. I wish people could talk it out more. And I think I can help that by being open to discuss the metaphor language with others so that we could formalize our social boundaries, and that will be helpful for employment and society in general. And as far as my weight, I've lost 13 pounds in 2 weeks. And I was still eating potatoes, mashed potatoes. But I was working out every day, just about every day, with the P90X. Although I only did like 10% exactly as the video. Everything else was slacking. So I'm really happy with that. And I think I will keep it up for even more than a month. I also wanted to mention that my meals are I've been eating 2 meals, one in the morning and one in the evening, not just one. And I've also been taking C8 supplements powder that I heard from Highimpactflix also, and I think that's good stuff. It helps with the hunger feeling, gets rid of the hunger feeling, but it doesn't give you energy. And I've been taking daily energy drinks at work, and that also helped do my job and give me energy at work. But it's really important to get enough sleep, so that's why I haven't been making the videos as soon as I wanted to, and watching as much or being as active online. And I heard Keith Knight. I heard the invitations that I've made for losing weight. I've heard from Bitch Spot. He said he's not fat. And Keith Knight of Trying 91. He didn't reply, but I've realized he was actually losing weight already. And he started losing weight right around the time when I got fired. So maybe I inspired him even back then. But I would like to see a more direct videos if you could. Alright, that's all I'm going to say.